Hello everyone, I've come into my garden to read you the story of Hansel and Gretel. I have a lovely copy of this book here. We can't get to the theatre at the moment, which is a bit sad, but in this book it looks like little miniature sets, so I thought I'd show you these. So here's the first page, and you can see Hansel and Gretel and their father and their stepmother. And they're in a little house which looks a little bit run down. I think they haven't got much money. So I'll begin. Once upon a time, there were two children called Hansel and Gretel, and they lived with their father and stepmother near a forest. Their father was a woodcutter, and they were very poor.
"We have nothing to eat but stale bread,"
the woodcutter's wife said one day.
"We must take the children to the forest and leave them there, or we shall all starve."
Sadly, the woodcutter agreed. Hansel and Gretel overheard this, and Hansel thought of a plan to save them. We're in the forest now. Next day, the family walked into the forest. The children were each given a piece of bread to keep for lunch, but Hansel crumbled his to leave a trail of breadcrumbs, which they could follow home. When they were deep in the forest, Hansel and Gretel found themselves all alone. After searching and calling, they started to look for breadcrumbs, but they could not find them. The birds must have eaten them up. There they are in the forest. The children were lost in the forest for a day and a night. At last, they came to a house made of gingerbread and sweets. Hansel began to eat a piece of the roof. Gretel nibbled on a window. Suddenly, the door opened and a woman hobbled out. Hansel and Gretel were frightened, but the woman said,
"Don't be afraid, I won't harm you. Come in and eat."
She gave them a big dinner and put them to bed. Here they are. Although the old woman seemed friendly, she was really a witch who ate children. The next day, while the children were still sleeping, the witch grabbed Hansel and locked him in a cage. Then she woke Gretel and said,
"Fetch some water and cook something good for Hansel. When he is fatter, I shall eat him."
So every day, Gretel had to cook for Hansel until the witch decided he was fat enough to eat. As the old woman stooped over to light the oven, Gretel suddenly pushed her inside and closed the door. And that was the end of the witch. Then Hansel and Gretel explored the gingerbread house and found gold and silver and precious jewels. When they finally arrived home, their father was overjoyed to see them and told them their stepmother had gone. The witch's jewels made them rich, and they lived happily ever after.